Welcome to another episode of She Looks Like Me. I'm so excited because my boo Oyah is here today. She's going to talk to us about physical and mental mindfulness. Her company WellKhep is lit and it is only continuing to grow, and I'm excited for her. She is a NASM certified personal trainer, precision nutrition, exercise nutrition coach, and a sound practitioner. From the age of 6, fitness has been a major part of her life. She's a Detroit native and a graduate of Alcorn State University on a full-time golf scholarship. After graduating college with a BS in biology, which I did not know that about you, by the way, she faced the common challenge of not getting a career right away. She lost focus on her goals, and her actions and behaviors led her to one of the most life-altering experiences. During this time, exercise was one of the greatest stress relievers for her, and she decided that she'd had enough of this self-infliction and that she was going to do what it took to succeed and build a life she'd always envisioned. Since 2017, she's used her own fitness journey and her passion to guide others to start, improve, and progress in their own journeys. WellKhep was created with the vision to help career-driven women and men overcome limiting beliefs through mindfulness practices and motivation through exercise. And secretly, she's been my friend for several years. We go back at this point. I'm like, I think this is year 6 now. So we're official at this point. And she was also one of my first models with my shop. Oyah is my boo. I'm so glad she can join me today. Hey, boo. Hey.
Hey, thank you for having me today. I'm so excited.
Me too. Listen, I was excited about this. First of all, because I have kind of been on my fitness game as of late, so I can relate to how transformative it is. And even though sometimes we run from it and as much as we want to do it, we don't. I'm looking forward to talking to you about that today. But before we get into it, as I always ask all my guests, I want to ask you, what is bringing you joy these days?
Moving on my own terms, doing what I want to do.
When I met you, you were training me at the time for, a brief period when I was on again, off again with fitness. But before transitioning into the health and wellness space, from what I knew of you, I know you were working in the real estate industry. And so tell me a little bit about your journey before officially diving into it, and really what piqued your interest in that path and pursuing to take that shift.
So when I first moved to Georgia, I was looking for something in like the fitness, wellness, recreation type of field. As you know, you don't get that job that you want right away. So I just had to take whatever job I could get just to make a means for myself. And it just so happened to be a recreation job. I say about 3 months into that job, I ended up getting laid off. So I was actually working out with a trainer at that time. And one of the girls that I was training with, she was like, hey, my job's hiring. Just apply. You don't have to know anything about it. And I'm like, okay, well, so I just applied to be a loan processor and I got that job. It did pique my interest to be in home ownership, obviously, because that's something that I want to do eventually. So I applied and worked as a loan processor. Now, I'll be honest, I hated that job. It was not something that I wanted to do. So in the meantime, I was trying to work on becoming a personal trainer. While I was at that job, I literally received my certification to NASM. I did my nutrition cert. And then I think I was at that job for 3 years until I started working as a full-time trainer. But I did learn a lot at that job. So I think everything kind of happened for a reason, but that was not what I wanted to do.
Facts. And I love that you are now doing what you want to do. So I would love to talk a little bit about that journey. Like you said, it took you 3 years, which I fully respect the entrepreneur hustle because I remember the few years where I did work in corporate, what it was like to have your business on the side and be working toward that and building that. But then also having this place that is like, listen, we pay you, so we need you. And we need you to show up. We need you here. It's a juggle, but now being on the other side, how is life and how is it to really be in your groove with doing what you love?
I will say before I answer, even after the 3 years that I resigned from that position, I always had that scarcity mindset, I guess you can say. That's why it honestly took me so long to actually just say, okay, I'm done with this and I'm going to do what I want to do. I had self-doubt. I was comfortable with what I was getting paid at the time, and it was for sure money. So I was always okay, well, I'm not going to go full throttle into my business because of all of those factors. But now just working on my own, it's like super fulfilling. At the end of the day, you do want to work for, obviously have like a life of financial means and you can take care of yourself, but all of that comes when you're truly happy. So I'm like in the happiest space I've ever been. And then just being here in Atlanta, being around people that are entrepreneurs, I can say you were one of the people that inspired me too, because I always seen you doing your own thing since I met you. You was doing your own thing at the photo shoot, doing what you wanted to do. So just surrounding myself around entrepreneurs, that really helped me too.
I don't know. I just have these ideas and I just got to run with them. I'm like, it might work, it might not work, but we're going to figure it out. You know, people spend money on different things. For me, I spend money trying to figure out ways to make more money.
See, and that's where I am now. At first, it was like trying to hold on to it because you don't know when you'll get more of it. What is the saying? Scared money don't make money.
I feel like I can relate to your story, and a lot of people can relate to your story about having life-altering experiences and like going through these moments, whether they be good or bad or whatever the labels that we put on them, but just going through moments where you might need to push yourself through, right? And so I know 2020 was that for a lot of people. That was exacerbated depending on what was going on in your life to some degree or another, right? For everybody. And so I know for me, I started getting serious about it toward the end of the year. And I know how important it has been for me over the last, let's say 5 months or so, to have this active routine and how life-changing it can be. One of the things that I love most about being physically active right now is that me and anxiety we are breaking up, okay? Like I can't do it. And if anxiety acts like it wants to come back to the party, then I just go to the gym. Because whether it's a difficult conversation, whether it's a bill, not saying that I stress about bills or things like that. I don't, but there are a lot of people who do. Can we talk about how physical fitness can help us, not only physically, obviously, but just be transformative to all aspects of our life?
Obviously, fitness helps your overall aesthetics, but on the inside, it helps like your mood, enhances your mood, your energy. It gives you mental clarity, like you were saying. And that's one of the main reasons like that I work out, because it just gives me like that, I feel so much better. You can't really explain it until you do it. I even had a client that she said she just wanted to work out with me because she wanted to have adult conversations. Like she was a mom of 2 people and she stayed at home with her kids all day. One of her kids were, I might say it wrong, mentally disabled. And so she was around that all day. So she just wanted to train with me to have a conversation. So also it helps with your heart health, getting your blood flowing. Like people don't realize, because sometimes we're so sedentary, we're sitting at our job from 9 to 5, your blood's not really flowing at the level that it should be. And then you go back, you go home, cook you some dinner, and then lay down or watch TV, your blood's not getting that flow. It's a lot of benefits. It helps just day-to-day movement overall. Just being able to move. For example, walking down a hill, you may slip and fall, but if you're working out and, improving your stability, that helps.
I know somebody's listening. They're probably going to be like, that sounds good. That sounds cute. Because we talked about this before we started officially recording, but there is a resistance, okay, that just rears its ugly head at the point that you even thinking about you about to start being active all the time, okay? And like be committed to this thing. We commit to so many things. Although I think we do, our generation especially has a really like a huge commitment problem in general. But committing to an active workout routine, a trainer, just any type of fitness level, something. What is that about? Can you help us break that down and like help us figure out how to get through that for those of us who struggle with just showing up?
Just moving your body. I know it sounds like super simple. If you aren't moving, maybe something that'll give you joy is window shopping. So just go walk around the mall or something like that, or go take a walk outdoors. One of the other things is just having that accountability. If you have the right people around you to motivate you and encourage you, then you have that oomph to want to do whatever that goal is that you set for yourself. And then one of the last things and the main things is getting out of that self-sabotaging behavior, because we all do that. I know I do that. I won't do something that I set for myself, but I'll be thinking about it the whole time, like, dang, I know I should have did this, or I know I should have did that. So getting out your own way. That's like the number one answer is don't self-sabotage yourself because you know what it is you want to do, and you're only the only one that's going to hold yourself back.
A couple of things. Yes, yes, and yes to all of that. My therapist talked about it with me because I would go in there so like devastated about certain things that weren't happening for me in my life when I wasn't working on them. And she was just like, well, maybe just spend like 15 minutes a day working on it and let's just see where it goes. And I was just reading or listening to a book called Fear is My Homeboy. And it talks about the power of momentum and how just even getting started, even if you don't do anything else, like if you dedicate 30 minutes on your calendar to work on your business, if you don't work on your business during that 30 minutes, well, you don't do anything else. You're going to sit there for 30 minutes. Even if you think about it, whether you get stuff done or not, your brain's only going to continue to feel worse the more you don't work on it because you're thinking about it, but nothing's happening. So that's where the feeling worse comes in. And then I know for me, procrastination is definitely self-sabotage, one of my self-sabotage patterns, that and perfectionism. We're all working some progress though, but I do, like you said, just that getting moving allows me to move through my thoughts. It allows me to get away from the computer for a second and like not feel like I have to have an answer and I have to put pen to paper right this second. It's like I can go to the gym. I can maybe think about it, maybe not, listen to some music, listen to some Meek Mill and some Drake and like just sweat it out and hopefully come out of it on the other side or with some clarity or some answers, or at least a clear mind, like you said, to be able to come revisit it either that day or at another time.
Yeah, and then some people think you have to do the traditional working out where you just need to go to the gym and hit the weights. You can do fitness classes. You can do pole classes if that's something that you like to do. Yoga, like any of those things, that's a form of movement.
So one of the things I learned in the last year, especially in, like I said, just kind of moving through wanting to be active, is how connected the mental and physical aspects of ourselves are. What I've learned is that sometimes when you commit to one, the other benefits, right? So typically like a commitment to your mental health and wellness or personal growth in that area leads to the same in your physical area and vice versa. I want to talk about your incorporation of mindfulness meditation into your business, because when you first started, it was fitness and nutrition. And now you're moving into mindfulness meditation along with God knows what else, but I'm excited to see what it is. So tell me why that was important for you and why it's important for us to keep in mind in our personal journeys.
Like I was saying, just the transition of leaving corporate to full-time WellKhep. I had that scarcity mindset. I was always doubting myself. I always let outside influences influence me, if that makes sense. So the job that I was working at that time, it was a fitness facility and they had sound therapy. So I was like, well, let me just try this one day. So I tried it. And I'll be honest, it didn't resonate with me at the time. It was like, okay, that was nice. Like I got a good nap out of it. But I don't know. The next day I felt like felt like at ease. It was like a weird feeling. And I don't know if you know the feeling where your body kind of rejects something. So you're probably like super irritable or something like that. But truth be told, I couldn't even like listen to music that day. It's like so weird. Like my body just wanted, I guess, those vibrations again. So I was like, well, let me just keep going. And so I was going to the class. A few months later, the lady actually resigned that was teaching the class. And so I don't know if I can say the name of the place I worked at, but that particular place, they sent me to the retreat to get certified. They sent two of us there. And so I went, I was just open to it just because I'm like, okay, well, let me just get a new certification. I didn't even look into it. I'll be honest. I just was like, okay, cool, a free cert. And when I got there, Simone, it was life-changing. Like I cried every day at that retreat. We did like sound baths. We just talked about meditation as a whole, the history, I guess, different practices that you can do to meditate. I was going to start teaching the classes there because at that point I was really enjoying it. And when I came back from the retreat, it was like, whoa, like this changed my life. So I have to take this serious. So I was literally going to start teaching the classes. and Corona came. I got laid off at that position and I had to start doing my own thing. And that was when it was a lot of things going on, not only with Corona, but with all the Black Lives Matter incidents that were happening. So I was like, I need to share the gift that I have. And so I just started doing it on live. How I incorporated it into my business, it just made me feel good. And I wanted to share that with other people. Like, it really the sound therapy has really changed my life, to be honest with you. It made me more aware of myself. I can like really focus and pay attention to people, to experiences, and really understand why they're happening, whether it's positive or it's a negative encounter that I have. It just gives me like an overall harmony within myself and brings me like on a higher vibration, if that makes sense. Like, you can really spot people and situations like spot on and know who they are and what they are for you. So that's what sound baths does to me. I'm more emotionally stable. That's one of the things that really has helped me with just being an entrepreneur or being in relationships. You kind of get conditioned to certain thinking patterns. And so it just helps me get out my own way. So I wanted to share that with the world. And so I just was like, well, let me just start incorporating mindfulness into my business as well. Believe it or not, I didn't think people were going to like it because, you know, the world is kind of like in fad and trends and things. And so last year, it really wasn't out. Like, people really didn't know about sound baths. But once stars like SZA or Janae Aiko started doing it, it's like, oh, I want to do a sound bath. And so now I think it's like the perfect time to bring it out in the community. And then two, I will say sometimes the Black community is kind of closed off when it comes to new practices like that. A lot of people have their own beliefs of what meditation is. And so I just really want to be that person to educate people on what it is, because it's not a religion, people.
And that's the thing, right? Like, you know that there's like religion and then there's spirituality. What that looks like for each individual person they should be able to define that. Because I know for me, meditation has been super helpful. Because like when I used to wake up, my mind would immediately start racing with all the things I had to get done, all the people that I was annoyed with, the people that irritated me right before I went to sleep, that it's not resolved. Like, everything just started coming to my mind. I was like, we can't do mornings like this. Like, something has to give. And so, of course, my therapist was like, well, maybe start a journal. So I started journaling and then also meditating. And then once I added the workout piece in there, I was like, okay, sis, you got a nice little like combination here of self-care, really just pouring into yourself that feels nice. And like you said, you explained everything that I feel when it comes to like being self-aware, emotionally stable. Okay. That emotional stability, that's so important because that'll solve so many other problems. And then, like you said, being able to spot and see things a mile away because you have that clarity, like you trust yourself enough to say this feels good or this person feels good or this thing does not feel good or whatever it is. I think another thing that makes us, and when I say us, right, I mean, sometimes the Black community uncomfortable with it is just sitting in those emotions. I know that both my therapist and Deepak Chopra, because that's who I listen to, Deepak and Oprah, they do these 21-day meditations that are free. And I'm like, hey, why not? 21 days with Oprah every morning, sign me up. So I'm doing that one right now, actually. And they talk about 3 different types of like distractions that come up and why it makes people like run out of meditation or like not want to do it. And those typically are like noises in the environment, your thoughts, or like body sensations. So how do you address with people, or as you start to go into your practice, those possible conversations of like, it was so uncomfortable. My foot went to sleep. There was a bird chirping outside. Then the trash man came right when I was trying to start. You know, all those things. How do you address people, or how would you recommend somebody deal with that uncomfortability in those moments?
First, you have to know really what meditation is. Meditation is training your attention to focus on whatever it is. So you have your breath work. You have body scans, you have like loving kindness meditation. So whatever it is that you want to focus on, I would say start with breath work, really concentrating on your breath work. And it may sound like what, but just literally laying there and focusing on your breath. You may hear some outside influences, or it may even be internal influences like your thoughts. Just let them go. Don't judge them and go back to your breathing. So just starting, I would say start with breath work first, just focusing on the in and out of your breath. Maybe you want to literally count to yourself, like inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, and start with a time that's realistic to you. I would say start with 2 to 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be like 30 minutes. Just start with 2 to 5 minutes, and maybe the next week do 5 to 8 minutes, and then kind of just progress from there. So doing breath work, number one, and then focusing on your body when you're meditating. So really starting from like your head, how you feel, going down to your neck, to your shoulders. And by then it's like 10 minutes. So just breathing and focusing on maybe your affirmations that you say to yourself. You have different focal points or different learning techniques, but like I said, breath work is the first one that I would say focus on. And then from there, you can kind of get into the other techniques.
So the Deepak and Oprah one, they do mantras, of course. Mm-hmm. That might scare some people off, but just because it's language that you don't necessarily understand, and you have to trust that what they're telling you is what it is. I mean, I enjoy it and it makes me feel good. And the various themes that they have, like right now, they have one about getting unstuck and moving through your life, like creatively. And everything resonates with me. So breath work for sure, mantras if that's your thing. But I'm most excited about the fact that we are going to expose people to the sound bath, sound therapy experience, because Oyah has been so gracious, so gracious to allow us to experience it today. She's going to give us just a little snippet. So I'm super excited about that. I just want to say, Oyah, before we go, because that's how we're going to close out. I'm not going to come back after that. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you as a person. Thank you for being a friend for me for years, always being down to support. And I appreciate you today. I think hopefully this will be inspirational to somebody. Hopefully somebody will be walking around their neighborhood listening to us. And before we go, I want to make sure people know how to get in touch with you if they are in the Atlanta area or virtually, how they might become a client. Tell the people how to stay in touch.
Yes, so you can follow me on Instagram at WellKhep, WellKhep, or you can just follow me on Facebook at Oyah Kheperu. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can follow me. And thank you so much, Simone, for having me. This is a beautiful podcast. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Boo. Well, I am going to turn it over to you and let us experience this sound therapy, sound bath experience. Before the sound therapy experience begins, feel free to pause this episode to adjust your settings. Oyah has been so gracious to give us about 15 minutes of sound healing. So find a comfortable place to sit, either on the ground with your legs crossed or feet planted on the floor if you're in a chair or sitting somewhere. You can go outside if you'd like and sit there also. And for the most engaging experience, you'll want to be in a quiet space, and using headphones is a great way to really be tuned in. Just make sure the volume's set at a level that's loud enough to feel the vibrations, but not so loud that it's distracting you or uncomfortable for your hearing. If you want to go a little further, you can also light a candle or incense. If you have a mantra, you're welcome to repeat that silently. Otherwise, just focus on paying attention to your inward and outward breath. No judgment, just you time. More than anything, give yourself this time because you deserve it. Enjoy.